Welcome to day 11 of our school year. So let's go ahead and start with our beginning fraction of 180. And because that's the total amount of school days, and we're on day 11. Now we're going to look at our numerator and think, is it prime or composite? Well, 11 is circled, so it's prime. So since it's prime, we only need to do the factorization of our denominator. Our prime factorization for 11 is 11, just itself. So let's try 180. To do our prime factorization, we only use prime numbers. So our first 5 are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. Let's see. Let's start with 3. I can get 6 groups of 3 out of 18, and then I put my placeholder. 60 is even, so I can divide by 2. Half of 6 is 3. And then I bring down my placeholder. I'm trying to do this a little differently each day to show you that it doesn't matter the order in which you choose to do your factorization. It will work any of the ways. It ends in 0, so I know I can divide by 5, and I get 6. And 6 is even, so I can divide by 2. I get 3. Whenever I get to a prime number down here, I'm done. And these are all our prime factors here. We're going to write them down from least to greatest. So 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. And then our numerator is 11. So what is our greatest common factor? What do we see in both the numerator and the denominator? Nothing. When there's nothing to circle, our greatest common factor is 1. So let's make our groups of 1. Done. How many total groups of 1 do we have? 180. How many of those groups of 1 are shaded in? 11. Okay, and let's go ahead and make sure. Let's prove it with our division. Dividing by 1. Okay. So 180 divided by 1. Well, 1 times 100 gives me 100. Numbers the same, 0 is a game. More on top, no need to stop. Numbers the same, 0 is a game. Bring that 80 up here. And 80 times 1 is 80. Numbers the same, 0 is a game. Add these partial quotients, I get 180. Okay, and then 11 divided by 1. Well, 10 times 1 is 10. More on top, no need to stop. Numbers the same, 0 is a game. Bring the 1 up. 1 times 1 is 1. Numbers the same, 0 is a game. Add these partial quotients. 10 plus 1 equals 11. Now we're going to check our answers. Divisor times the quotient plus the remainder. Since my remainder is 0 and the identity property of addition says it's going to stay the same, I don't need to add it. So it's just going to be 1 times 180 and 1 times 11. Now what we end up with both of these here is the identity property of multiplication that says when you multiply by 1, it stays the same. 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 8 is 8, 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 1 is 1. 180, that matches my dividend. 11, that matches my dividend. So my fraction is definitely 11 out of 180. Okay, let's go ahead and fill in our data collection page. Okay, trimester 1, week 3. Today is 8/22/19, and our fraction for today is 11/180. 11 is a prime number and is not a factor of 180. So when we get those prime numbers, the greatest common factor is 1. And when our greatest common factor is 1, we're making groups of 1. Those are already filled in for you. So you do not have to get out your number line. You can just see right here, 11/180 is already on there. And there's no line below it because there's not an equivalent fraction in lower terms. Okay, let's go ahead and put the number line away. Erase your worksheet, and thank you for joining me.